We live in an exciting moment in history. For the first time in human existence, we understand the world's needs and the planet's wounds well enough to respond effectively on a global scale. Most importantly, we have the resources to meet the challenges before us. It won't be easy, but nothing that can shift the planet's future in the right direction will be. It is an exciting challenge and one that we are ready to face. I want to introduce you to Summit, the Sustainable Mountain Development and Conflict Transformation Global Database. Here you will learn why this tool is being built and how it will transform and save thousands of lives. We inhabit a world where problems and the solutions to those problems exist side by side, yet very often we do not know how or where to find the information or assets to meet the needs that are so tragic and prevalent. Around the globe, people suffer and die from malnutrition and lack of access to clean, safe water, lack of health care and education, lack of opportunity for work, and other forms of structural and indirect violence. People also perish from violence in direct forms as well, from criminality to interstate and especially sub-state war. And there is a strong correlation between the injustices of poverty and the violence manifest in weaponized resistance and insurgents. Very conservative estimates conclude that at least 50,000 die each day from poverty alone. At the same time, climate change is advancing its own manifestations of violence. From island nations being displaced entirely to our dying oceans, to the wars between peoples now fighting over increasingly scarce grazing lands, to the increase of diseases brought about by changing climatic zones. The planet's peoples suffer as the planet itself endures assault. This unsustainable exploitation can be radically diminished, and much of it can be eliminated altogether. This is the challenge of our time. Often we become immobilized with pessimism, thinking that we are not up to the challenge and that we do not have the resources to respond. But this is simply not the case. We have valuable assets and tools, and what we need to do is identify and collect and inventory them and make them available as widely as possible, train one another in their use, and put them to work. It is our privilege to introduce you to one of these new and exciting tools. Summit will be the world's premier repository of data related to sustainable development and conflict transformation, especially, but not narrowly, focused on mountain regions, peoples, and problematics. The world's pathologies mentioned here are suffered more acutely and chronically in mountain communities and geographies than elsewhere. Our database will host or connect to hundreds of thousands of texts, documents, maps, statistical collections, organizations, technologies, and more. The user will be able to search for information through the use of keywords and phrases by regions, countries, problems, issues, organizations, and other categories. Imagine looking for information about micro-hydroelectric power technology or microfinance or water security, peace-building strategies or transitional justice, and finding thousands of submissions of data in numerous forms on any one of these topics. Our database will not be used only by researchers and scholars, but also by governments and non-governmental organizations, by multilateral organizations from the United Nations to the Commonwealth of Independent States. It will also be used by ordinary people in ordinary places, perhaps by a village council in the Fergana Valley in Uzbekistan or the Kyrgyz Republic, or high in the Andes or Himalayas, or on the central plateau of Haiti. This project offers not only information in the form of text, maps, organizations, and so on, it also offers access to tools and resources. It will be a site for asset transfer where those who have them, from technology to expertise to funding, will make resources available to those who need them.
This is really very important. Mountains are the areas of cultural diversity, of social diversity, and environmental diversity. And we also know that they are under a lot of threat. There are lots of efforts and agreements to protect them, but we need information. We need information on the natural resources, we need information on culture, on politics, on the kind of conflicts that might emerge. So the time has come to start building up that database, and any information that we put in it would be enormously useful.
We have significant gaps in our understanding about mountains and so on. Partly it's because satellite sensing only gives us a very incomplete picture of what's happening and needs to be supplemented with on-the-ground research, and this is very expensive, very difficult to do in mountain conditions, partly because of political tensions, which keep people from sharing information and being able to do research in many of these areas. So the idea of a global database is, I think, wonderful. It responds to a very real need in the world, and I have no doubt that it will be incredibly valuable to practitioners, policymakers, researchers, citizens around the world. It's an important step in moving towards global sustainability.
Et l'existence d'une base de données qui permet non seulement de mieux comprendre les populations, mais aussi de faciliter les échanges interculturels, de faciliter les échanges entre différentes expériences qui permettent de réinventer la vie et de répondre aux grandes problématiques qui se posent aujourd'hui face au développement des peuples et face à la réponse à donner aux différents problèmes qui nous empêchent d'arriver à la satisfaction des besoins essentiels des peuples. Donc c'est une très très belle initiative et nous sommes prêts à contribuer à cette initiative et nous sommes très impatients de pouvoir échanger avec d'autres zones montagneuses.
Our database will collect and connect to scholarly texts, gray data produced by governments, NGOs, and multilateral organizations, and citizen science data produced by those working on behalf of their communities. It will pioneer innovative ways to employ this data and encourage people to work together across disciplinary and professional boundaries to solve some of our most vexing problems.
Summit, the Sustainable Mountain Development and Conflict Transformation Global Database, is a project, program, and tool that will continuously grow and be used by millions. It identifies, collects, inventories, and networks the widest possible set of users across the globe. The assets available to address problems, especially, but again, not only, focused on mountain communities. We are thrilled to be a part of this exciting and promising venture, and we invite you to join us. Our database is funded by people like you. The Summit database will attack and defeat multiple manifestations of poverty and violence around the globe and inspire innovative strategies for doing so. We invite you into partnership and collaboration. Thank you.